Hey guys, John here, and today we're going to be looking at Taboola. So I launched some ads on Taboola, and you can see some of my preliminary tests here. So as you see, we have all of our metrics over here on the right column, and I spent 133 bucks on Taboola. And what we're doing is we are going to actually look at how everything's going. So I actually had everything going to the wrong link, and I didn't have the conversion pixel set up. So none of this spend, all this spend basically just gathered us a little bit of data. Now, if we look here, I'm going to look at campaign content because all we can really optimize by right here is actually the ads. So what we're seeing here is we have a few interesting things. One is we have our average cost per click is the same throughout, which is nice to see. But at the same time, our click-through rate is very different from one ad to the other. So we have let's move this on. We have a man in front of a house. We have a man with his baby on a computer. We have a hot girl in front of a yacht, and we have a high-end sports car. Now, from what we're seeing right away, we're seeing these ads underperformed with the man, and the girl and the sports car performed the best. In fact, we're just looking at the click-through rate, and the click-through rate is much higher on the girl and the sports car. So basically, all I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pause. Given the fact that we're getting such a much higher click-through rate here, I'm actually just going to pause these ads, and I'm going to launch another couple ads that are similar to this image. And so basically what I'm seeing is such a big discrepancy between a poor performing image and a high performing image. That leaves me with the hypothesis that I can actually that there's room for even more improvement in terms of improving the image, unless I've somehow happened to pick the very best image from the get-go, which is highly improbable. But again, this image has been tested in other campaigns, so all of these images have actually been tested in other campaigns. But I'm just going to assume this image is working the best. So what I'll do is I'll actually go into and let me look for a couple other. Well, let me throw this up here first. So I know one, I want to find more images, to test. Now I want to see if there are any other areas of optimization that we can actually look into. So here I am in my campaign, and I'm going to look at site. Here I am, and I see a number of sites here, and I just kind of want to see where I'm showing up. So this looks pretty ridiculous. I don't know why I'm showing up in this kind of Nepal. If I'm showing up in Nepal, it's probably not where I want to be showing up right away. So I'd be showing up around here. So these are this is where our ads would show. See, links by Taboola. So let's look at, let's see what's going on, because we might want to block some of these sites. First, there's a setting wrong because I'm not sure why I'm showing up in Nepal. So I'm going to click over to my campaign again, and going to say edit campaign properties. And, here we have the countries I'm targeting. Say show more. So I'm targeting some international countries here. You know, this is just a test. But why am I showing up in Nepal's newspaper? Not really sure. Now what's good is we know we're getting, we're getting traffic, so I can probably lower this as time goes on. I can definitely lower this. Okay. Now, let's see what else. Marketing objective is online purchases. Again, we're going to look at the site. Free Malaysia Today might make sense, but again, these are so outsized. Sponsored links. So it looks like this is a legitimate site. It's just I'm not sure if we want to. At least it's English speaking. Okay. So it might mean that we're getting traffic from Singapore, but again, I don't like taking my chances. So let's just see the country that we're showing up in. We're showing up a lot in Singapore. Okay, so that's where we're spending most of our money. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to mark off, I might end up marking off Singapore for the time being because I want to focus in more predominantly English-speaking countries. Because this is a lot of impressions. Let's see my click-through rate here. Now, these clicks are from the US, even though I'm not targeting the US, and it's probably from people that are reviewing my campaign. So let's go back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, exclude Singapore because it's spending too much of my budget. I'll add it back in later on, but for the time being, I want to really focus on the countries where I have a higher likelihood of getting conversions or just reaching the totally correct audience. So we see, Puerto Rico and some of these places, they're working out fine. So I just want to make sure that these numbers are consistent with what I should be actually seeing. If one of these countries had way more clicks than another, it would be a red flag to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of Singapore for now. I'm going to look at world map. Look at a world map real quick and just see Ireland and South Africa and Fiji I can add in. I basically am just focusing on some third world countries for now. Not that Ireland's a third world country, but I want to focus on some third tier countries so I can pick up some cheap traffic, but again, not too much. Aruba. We have, what else did we say? New Zealand. Let's try one state in the US. Can we target one state in the US? So we'll keep it like that. Are there any others? So I'm just targeting some small stuff just to test because I know how much traffic I know how much traffic that Taboola has. Taboola you can spend $100,000 a day on. But again, I don't want to spend $100,000 a day until I know what I'm doing is working. So I'm going to keep the traffic pretty low for right now, and we're just going to see what happens. So I'm just going to click continue. Apply changes. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to look at this. We optimize this. What I did was I added in a conversion pixel. Okay. And now what I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for some more images. So I excluded Singapore. I'm going to look for some more images of high-end cars. High-end sports cars. Let's see. We want to see some really nice cars. This might work. Buy rich kids show off sports cars. So we want some really visually stunning images. This is a good one. So we have this car. Again, we're looking for that really nice. Looking for some really nice car images. And, you know, you can basically use, using images on the internet isn't that bad. People reuse images all the time. So let's go in here. And we're going to go back to campaign summary. Oopsies, campaign management. And it says edit campaign properties, edit campaign inventory. So let's edit campaign inventory. So let's create some new ads here. I'm going to post my, I'm going to take 5 new ads. We have our same headline we're using with all of these ads. Again, we want to keep our control. We're going to add some images. And here's some images I found. Gold. This one. Try this one. We have to, so I like these colors, right? We have like green, we have yellow, we have gold, we have red. So we just have to wait for this guy to finish loading. And what we'll do is we'll fire this up. We'll click finish. We'll see what happens. I like to throw in one zinger. So what I'll probably throw in is I'll throw in a picture of a yacht or something like that for the last image once this is finished crawling. The reason why I like to do that is I like to throw in something different because maybe instead of seeing cars, people want to see yachts or jet skis or, you know, what's going to capture people's attention the most. So that's kind of the way I think is I'll you know, stick with what works, but again, always try some things new. So Google calls it 20% time. They say, you know, basically you do what works 80% of the time, do what brings in the money 80% of the time, or do what's working best. And then with 20% of your time or your ad budget, do something totally crazy. Do something crazy. Do something new. And let's just wait for this to finish. So the one wasn't loading, so I just canceled the one ad and I created two new ads right here. And we're gonna choose that beautiful yacht image. Okay. And we're gonna add in one more image. Yacht. Then we have this guy. Buy rich kids. Let's see. We don't want this. So here we go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new ads. And we'll just do finish. And boom, there we have it. So we have, we launched 6 new ads. We optimized some of our settings. And we're going to see what happens. That's basically all there is to it. Now what I like to do is I just like to peel, you know, go through some of the data, and I like to see, you know, what's going on. Again, generally speaking, I want to see if there's any weird outliers in this data. New Indian Express. I'm seeing all this Indian traffic, but I don't really want Indian traffic. Times of Indian. I'm going to block Times of India. And, you know, let me see what's getting the most impressions. This got way too many impressions and almost 0 clicks. So again, this is making my click-through rate look bad, and the way that Taboola works is they're still looking at your click-through rate. They're still looking at your click-through rate to determine whether to show your ads, so this doesn't make my overall metrics look any good. This doesn't look good either. Let me see what site MapleStage is. So this isn't in English. You know, this whole site isn't in English, so I'm gonna defer away from actually showing my ad here because it's not in English. Let's see this. See, this doesn't bring me much happiness because you see it says Discus SMB, and then I click, okay, let's see this, and it doesn't go to a real site. So this is very possibly fraudulent traffic. What it actually means is it means they're syndicating my ads on the Discus advertising network, but that's we don't really want to be syndicated on some other person's network. We only want Taboola traffic for now. I don't like advertising in places where I don't know anything about where my ad is showing up. So this doesn't seem safe, so I'm going to get rid of this guy too. Okay. Free Malaysia today. So this is in English. And it seems like it's getting some action, so I'm going to keep it. Daily Mail Australia. Again, this is fine. So I don't like this either. Look, 0% click-through rate. It showed a lot of impressions. And it looks like it says Scrabble Hasbro. So I'm guessing it's showing on a game. So this doesn't help either. I don't want my ads to show in some sort of weird game. I'm going to block this as well. Ziff Davis Network 15. So what this is telling me is this is probably a syndicated ad, meaning what companies like Taboola will do, and all ad networks in general will do, is they will put your ads, in order to fill inventory and make the most money, they'll put your ads on other ad networks, other ad networks' unsold inventory. And this is dangerous because the more middlemen you go through in advertising, the more problems start coming up. A lot of problems start coming up because you don't know where the ads are showing, and it's every middleman increases the rate of the potential of fraudulent, because there's a whole gaming of the system. There's a whole group of people, just like how we're trying to legitimately sell products to people. There's all sorts of people out there that are trying to make money from advertisers without showing them on real sites. So let's just check this out. It says it's on IGN, so I'm not going to mark it off. It's through this company, Ziff Davis. Let's look at some of these. Daily Mail. Okay. Again, that's fine. Discus, Spanish group. Again, not sure where Discus is showing my ads, so I'm going to block these guys. News Asia TV. So, not sure what's going on here or what ads these are. So let's checking your browser before you go to Subscene. Some of these are a little sketchy. I'm not sure. I see a lot of impressions here, but a very low click-through rate. So I'm actually going to exclude this one as well. We have Times of India, iDiva. That sounds like a game or something. I'm not sure what iDiva is, but it doesn't sound like a news site. In this case, based on the fact that it's for women, let's see if I can find some ads. Okay, now this is interesting. I like seeing new ad networks. So what I'll do is I'll actually look recommended by Columbia. Columbia Ad Network native. So we'll look at this. This is kind of interesting. This is a new ad network I've never looked at. It looks like this is an Indian-focused ad network. That's kind of interesting. There might be some potential here down the line. But again, always look out for this stuff. Perform Media Group. So that means there's a middleman here. Okay? Perform Media Group is a middleman. Oh, first off, I'm going to get rid of Times of Media iDiva because, again, they have a super low click-through rate. Perform Media Group. Not sure what this is. I'm going to look into it. It's a soccer site with soccer stats. Now, how did we do on this? Got some clicks. So I'm not going to immediately mark it off. So let's just see if anything really sticks out. Hindustan Times, we have a good click-through rate. Again, this is an Indian site, and it looks like it's in English. And we can see, here's the Taboola ads. We have more Taboola ads over here on the right. So remember, these companies can still be gaming the system if they want. They could be sending fake traffic and having people click on our ads. There's all sorts of things people can do. I'm going to get rid of this site because there's 17 entries here, and it doesn't. I don't know. I get a bad feeling about this site. Now, a lot of these don't have very many impressions, so I can let them run for a little bit. And again, we're only paying for actual clicks here. If we don't get a click, we're not paying, but again, it's important to have a good click-through rate here. So there we go. I optimized some placements. We see all the countries are getting clicks, so there's nothing out of the normal here, except for Singapore was taking all of our clicks. I'd rather see a makeup somewhat like this. You know, Australia, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Bahamas, Gibraltar. Okay? Let's see platform. Desktop, smartphone. Everything's on desktop. That's how we set it. And by audience, think we have anything loaded up here. So here we go. We have, it looks like our where our impressions, we selected a number of places to advertise, and let's see. We're seeing our, I guess these are our targeting places where our ads are going. So this is kind of interesting. So this is what matches our targeting. Now, business professional, there are different ways of segmenting our targeting. So what we can look at is, what is the highest click-through rate? Partner names, specialist marketing solutions, propensity holder, credit card holder. what we want to do is this only has 17 impressions and 1 click, so of course it's going to look like it has a very high confidence rate. Now, what I'd want to see is I'd actually want to segment this. So this is a lot of data, and these are all the different audiences we can target. So I'm going to do something funky. I'm going to actually export this and look at this in Google Drive. Export to Google Drive. While we're doing that, I clicked on this ad. You're allowed to do anything in this game, and I ended up on this site. So you see, we click here. And we end up on we ended up on a site. I clicked on some ad, and basically here it is. There's a lot of more ads, and they're all from MGID. So there's a number of ads on, so this is a different ad network that we're advertising on, and we see a number of actual business opportunity ads right here. Okay, beginner's cryptocurrency guide, Bitcoin makes millionaires, become one of them. And 3 government secrets you probably didn't know, etc. So we see a few different sites. And we have this site, which is really interesting, Business Insider. And we see they're actually this is not Business Insider, actually. This is somebody spoofing Business Insider. And they're talking about cryptocurrency. The team at Crypto Exceller. They have Jeff Bezos. Bitcoin is digital gold, and blockchain technology will change the world. I urge you to start investing. And then they have all these people who made a lot of money with cryptocurrency, and what they're trying to get you to do is click on this image or go to this site. Now that's pretty interesting. And look, they have this they have the timer with a bunch of urgency right here. So this is pretty good. And this is the sort of site that will get super high conversion rates. So I'm gonna actually capture the entire page here and save this to my swipe file. Because again, this probably works. This had me fooled for a second. This is just a promotional site for cryptocurrency. So we're going to save that. And also I see there's this site, which is a free guide for anyone that thinks investing in cryptos is complicated and confusing. They have an opt-in. Now, I think this is a pretty good headline. So I'm actually going to swipe this page. I'm going to swipe this page as well and add it to my swipe file because I like this page and I like the angle there. Maybe I'll use this headline for something I'm doing, for one of my pre-sale pages. So there we go. We have some ideas. I'm going to actually bring up this, let me bring this up in Excel real quick. Sweet. So guys, we have a shitload of data. Look at all this data. We have 18,000 rows of data. Now, what's great here is this is kind of where the hardcore data analysis comes in, and this is not stuff I expect you to know at first, but this is give you a little bit of insight into what I do in. I'm going to freeze 2 columns. So look at this. Now, what I'm interested in is seeing. I'm interested in seeing impressions. I want to see high impressions, but I'm really interested in seeing what has the highest click-through rate right now. Because this is the only column we can actually measure stuff by. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by. I'm just going to sort by Z to A, which is highest to smallest, and what I can do is I can set a filter. Somewhere here for filter, but let's see, filter. Create a filter, and I can say, basically, filter by condition, and I can say greater than, what's a good number? Greater than 25,000. Okay, so then we only get these. 25,000 is too much, so we say, okay, let's say greater than 10,000 impressions. And what we're looking for is we want to see some stuff that is, what is trending higher? What is trending the highest? We see sports engagers, travel engagers, technology, tech engagers, food industry. What I like this. I like this a lot because what we can do is we can actually target these specific segments when we move over to the US. Corporate finance, web development. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring this on to a separate sheet. And I'm going to take like these ones. I'm going to take these. How many rows is that? I'm copying it to a different sheet. And I'm just saying, what we can do is we can actually just create a campaign, our own campaign around this. So if I really were to expand, take all of these, and I would go into Taboola, and I'd create a new campaign just based off of these audiences, or these audience IDs, okay? IOTA, health and fitness nuts. But again, I like these big ones. Right, that's a big difference. Style trendsetter, lifestyle bloggers. Oopsies. So this is where we'll make our money, most likely, okay? Food engagers is interesting. Sports, and that's another interesting thing. Sports, travel, and tech. Maybe food, sports, travel, tech, and food. I don't know, we'll see. But we'll advertise a little bit more. But this gives me good data because I know once we start growing once we start getting our ads dialed in, once we start seeing our which ads are performing best and which countries are performing best, I know I can always come back and I can say, okay, I have a way we can expand our advertising or refine our advertising. I don't need to refine the advertising too much yet. Remember, I just refined our advertising by cutting out Singapore. And I cut out a couple ads. So our volume may drop. And I'm adding in some new ads. I added in some new countries to kind of even things out. South Africa is a big country with a lot of volume. And we're going to keep doing this, and what I'm doing is I'm lining up new segments of which I can optimize by, and which I can cut, and which I can expand, because I know I can expand to the US and probably just target these segments. But again, we need to get my conversion. We need to know if our click-throughs are happening, and a few other things until I can actually justify spending more money, because right now we're just looking at clicks. So once I start looking at click-throughs on my landing page, which will count as conversions here, we'll start having some serious we'll start having some serious stuff to go by. So that's basically it. This gives me a couple different ideas of how to optimize. I'm very confident about this campaign, because we have so many layers we can optimize by. We have all this data. We cut out a lot of sites. We cut out a big country that had most of our volume. And we just have to see kind of what happens with the campaign. I'll spend another $100 to figure out what I can do here. And we'll just shift every time. We'll shift every time. We'll get it better every time. And either it'll be profitable, we'll get it profitable, or we won't. But we're going to refine this advertising through a lot of data and analysis, optimization essentially. And this is exciting. So this is really exciting. This is a new place I haven't advertised before, and I'm really excited to see what happens here. All right, hopefully enjoy. Leave comments down below. And let me know if this is helpful. Let me know if this is very advanced, obviously, but this gives you an idea of how I launch massive ad campaigns. And yeah, I find this stuff fun. So I'm going to meet up with a friend for a drink now. But again, leave comments down below. Let me know if you like these diaries. Let me know if you're understanding them. I understand they're advanced.